Welcome home. Glad to have you.
Welcome home. It's kind of weird, but it's a good start.
It's a great start. We are glad to be with you guys. Glad to be here.
Let
Good
us
to
know
see
where
you.
you're watching from. This is obviously our second time doing it. So, as you know, I'm Jared. This is my dad, Pastor Philip.
Welcome.
And basically, we want this to kind of be like an overflow from Sunday's message. If you have anything, that you didn't have time to share, or, just to kind of dig in a little bit more and get the word in people's lives, maybe in a little bit different way than just, watching the sermon again, which they should be, especially on.
I'm very excited about this. This is all your brainchild. This is your idea.
Somewhat.
To put this out and to give us an opportunity to kind of go. And there were people, like we had several people in North Carolina, as a matter of fact, who wanted a deeper dive into what we're doing. And so you had already said, well, let's do this. And so that's exactly what this is all about. So again, welcome. Let us know where you are watching from. And if you happened to catch the sermon or any time on Sunday or in any of the replays, and you have a question or a comment or something that specifically spoke into your life, let us know in the comments, and we would be happy to chat with you about it.
We've got it pulled up here. Kelsey's already said she's super excited on YouTube.
Yeah.
Leave
I see a bunch of
comment in the
people
chat.
watching. There's a
There's a
people.
lot. I like that. That's cool.
We're glad
Plug
you
in.
guys are there. Thank you for being there. Put some little likes in there or whatever that means, and let us know you're happy to be here. And your comments help, and anything that you want to hear or listen to a little bit more of, let us know about that. So what are we going after tonight?
Well, Sunday, you preached on, it was a very long title. I know that because when I went to make the graphic, I was like, whoa. But you said, the mouth of the righteous is a well of life.
Right.
Speaking on words. And it's funny to me because the stuff that you keep preaching is kind of the same stuff that I keep getting little snippets of in my own private time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you guys the other day, working on one for the youth, and there was some little stuff on there. I don't want to give too much away, but maybe we'll dive into that in a little bit when we hit something that I might give a little sauce on there.
Throw out a little bit so that everybody wants more.
You can't give them too much.
Wow.
It was a lot of fun, though. Just to harp back on that, the last time, if you were with us last week, it was the light and the darkness. Basically, that Sunday you preached on more on the darkness and the wickedness of the world, and I preached to the youth for the first time. Shout out from Spuds for Kelsey. But
Hey, Spuds.
yeah, that was my first time preaching like a full-length sermon. I know we said we did the Fast Five, and I don't know where that is, but it was fun. It was nice. It's definitely
Cool.
a nice way to dip your toe in the water.
Good start, yeah.
I do want you to read that letter, though, up front before we get too far in it.
For
Maybe
those
not
who
read it.
needed it, Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 11. That's where we were on Sunday. If you have your Bible there, you can take a look at it. The mouth of the righteous is a well of life, but violence covers the mouth of the wicked. The motivation for that sermon, God's kind of just downloaded that into my heart. The mouth of the righteous is a well of life, but violence covers the mouth of the wicked. That parallelism of two different paths and two different choices. And I was telling you, it's something that kind of has overflowed in my life over the last few years. A discovery and a revelation of the death and life are in the power of the tongue and the words that you speak. How important it is that you declare things in faith, you speak positive, you believe it, you stand on God's word, and then you just declare it, knowing that He's going to do it. And I was telling you, I got a letter this week that I can share a little bit of because it's just such a powerful thing. And if you guys ever want to do that, please do that. Email us or send me a letter.
On a side note of that, with the new website, which hopefully I'll get done soon, I've gotten quite a bit of work on it, but there will be a lot better way to contact us and drop us a line or to get involved, and obviously with the groups and stuff, but
Always better.
enough on that.
She said, great message on Sunday. It was a blessing. I have been declaring this scripture over myself since 1982, Psalms 118:17. I will not die but live and declare the works of the Lord. And then she gave some personal details that her mother had passed away at a young age from a particular disease. Her sister had died at a young age from a particular disease, and she had it also. And they didn't give her much of a chance of living, but she said, I am a living testimony to the power of speaking the word out loud every day, even in the face of death. I am now a very happy 64-year-old woman living my dream. Praise God. So things like that, speaking life It's a powerful, powerful thing. And so the trail of it all, kind of deeper diving into it a little bit, when we consider words, the power of them. And I said this Sunday, one of the revelations of the importance and the power of words is what the Bible has to say about them. The Bible has a lot to say about what we say and how we say it.
Yeah, and and it also says in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. So there's a lot
The Word.
in just your voice. I
That
don't
word,
think
that
a lot of
spoken,
people
powerful.
realize that.
In the book of Proverbs alone, there are over 90 different proverbs that speak directly to our words. And
Oh, wow.
90 different proverbs in that one book, which means that when Solomon was passing out wisdom, he said more, and I said this Sunday, he said more about our words than about our money, about our work, about our relationships. He said more about words, so it says a lot that he was talking about that.
I think that's great. I was definitely over there writing a lot of notes. But like I told you, then when you had the audacity to ask me if I could play that old song, and I was so distracted by writing notes that I missed your count in, and
And then tried to blame me on that.
Well, because I thought it was you in the moment, and then when I went back and watched the message, I was like, "Dope, that was completely me."
You heard it here,
it was
folks.
funny. Hey, it's
That's
all
the
right.
revelation stuff.
It's not in how you mess up; it's how you cover it up.
I said with words you can create, and with words you can destroy. One of the stories that I shared was an event that happened in my life. Now it was 43 years ago when I was a children's pastor, and I happened to be in the room when a father was chiding his 8-year-old son, and he said, "What are you, stupid?" And I saw the effect that it had on him.
I can't imagine.
I mean,
I can't. I mean,
I
obviously.
was taken so back by it that I still think about it. But at the end of that service, a young man was here from Michigan. He just moved to St. Augustine. That was his first sermon here.
Oh, wow. The first one?
Met me right here at the front. He's in tears, and he said that exact same thing happened in my life. And he said, to this moment, all I can hear is that word ringing in my head. Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Are you stupid? And so right there, man, at the end of that service, in the overflow of that service, we joined hands and prayed right there. And I just prayed that would be broken off of his life.
That's
and
awesome.
that he would hear and receive what God has to say about him. And so that's what this program right now, the Family Room, is all about, because that's the stuff that we don't get to tell much of anybody. So
No.
now we can tell you all about it. Y'all
Yeah,
are
I do
hearing that.
like this. I like
That's a powerful
the
thing. The chains
smaller,
breaking.
yeah.
Yeah, the chains breaking off of a guy's
And
life like
that's
that.
really cool. What a horrible thing to have over your life for, I don't know how old he was, but even if
He was
it's
18.
still, I mean,
Very young.
as however long it is, there's just a horrible
Yeah.
thing to hear, especially from your father, and just to
Right.
live with that. Most people, I think, girls and dads, always obviously want your parental approval, and sometimes more dads than others, maybe just because dads maybe aren't there as much with work and stuff like that. I certainly wasn't for the longest time with doing line work and everything, but it's nice to give the girls a lot more time.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you do, with the words thing, you kind of have to realize, okay, a little bit less free time now. Watch your mouth. You're not talking to grown men in a blue collar thing anymore.
Amen to that.
So it's definitely a message that spoke to me. I think I've listened to it at least one or two more times just since Sunday, obviously, other than
Fantastic.
sitting there and.
Well, you get triple doses because you've got to do all the editing and all that downloading and all that kind of stuff. Any comments people are making in here? I see we've got people watching from all over the place in St. Augustine.
For sure.
Dropping in on us, watching from, Patricia Riley.
From the northeast corner of New York.
Hey, girl.
That is awesome.
Well-
Ponte Vedra, obviously Sarah and Boogie and St. Augustine.
Right on.
Something I don't think we brought it up briefly last time, but there is a huge amount of people in Council Bluffs, Iowa. So shout out to Iowa and North Charleston, South Carolina. That is apparently our two biggest areas. So I don't know if, maybe.
We
we'll
are
be-
huge in Council
something
Bluffs, Iowa. What'd you say, 260?
In the last week or something, there was over 300 something. It's basically, since we started streaming, it's gone from a little bit to over 700 something
Wow.
viewers
So-
from Council Bluffs. That's
So if you're
I
there,
don't even
let us
how
know.
that
Say so
happens.
in the comments, wherever you're watching from. We're glad to have you with us. Digging in a little bit more on these words. I talked about words and the power that they have, and if they are damaging. a comment that I made to you just before we started, that you should remember before you speak, that word that you speak may leave your mouth never to be remembered by you, but for someone else, it may never be able to be forgotten. So
The
before
way you
speak,
said it in the sermon, because I was just listening to it on the way here in my drive, was I believe you said your words can be forgiven, but they may not be forgotten.
right?
And that's a big thing. Just like that
Yeah.
young man, with his dad calling him that over his life and childhood. He may forgive him now after the prayer with you, but obviously he's never going to forget it. It's still a stain.
Let's try this. How about you guys that are watching? Anybody who has spoken something positive in your life, if you want to, would you just drop that in the comment or put their name in the comment and just a thank you or something? Or somebody like that who said something positive over your life that made a difference in your life, just as a way of remembering it and testifying that it does make a difference. I was telling Jared before we started that I was at Flagler Hospital last week. I was coming down from the 8th floor down to the 1st floor, but the elevator stopped on the 2nd floor. And when it stopped, standing in front of me was a couple that I hadn't seen in probably 10 years. They were and we both did that little, oh, well, come on in. And we went down, and long story short, he followed me out into the parking lot and just kept talking. But about 15 years ago, he said I had spoken a word of prophecy over his life. I had given him some kind of encouragement about something coming in his life. And in tears that day in the parking lot, he said, the season that I'm in right now is exactly what you told me about. So I wanted to thank you for telling me in advance that it was coming. That word that you may speak that may never be remembered by you, but will never be forgotten by somebody else. That's a powerful thing.
It is. One of the things that I told you before that I had written down, because I also want to point out that you say you're old school all the time, and I'm the only one with an actual notebook here. You've got an iPad. Anyways, no, you said bad moods should never be mixed with bad words. And I mean, as common sense as that should be, that is just so on the money. I mean, how many, you get in a little, what is it? I heard it when I was listening to one of those preaching courses. Instead of calling it an argument, you call it an inconvenient discussion. So with all of the inconvenient discussions you have with your friends or your spouse or anything like that, it's often bad moods get very mixed up with bad words. Yeah. And same thing, it might be forgiven, but it's not forgotten. And I've certainly had to eat my foot a whole bunch because I'm pretty quick with the tongue. But
where'd you get that from?
Probably mom.
Yeah.
No. Kelsey had a good question. She said we should give some advice for people that deal with a hostile work environment and how to bring Sunday's sermon to that.
Wow. How to deal with a hostile work environment. Well, one of the best things that I've learned in being in hostile work environments, I used to be a deputy sheriff, so that is as hostile as it gets. I think one of the most important things is the advice and the counsel that James gives us. Let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. I think one of the most important lessons that I've learned personally in my life is to just listen. Try to listen. Because there's a good thought that you have about ears.
Oh, yeah. I was waiting for you to actually just steal it, so props to you for giving me that. No, it's, everybody always says that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth and to listen twice as much as you speak. And something that hit me this morning that I wanted to bring up tonight was, how much different would our speech be if we listened to God twice as much as we talk? And just in general, not talk, maybe, I don't want to say to God, but just in general, just how much different is your speech if you actually take the time? You talk about the hostile work environment of the sheriff's office. I don't know that, but I could tell you line work is certainly certainly hostile. It's blue collar. It's a bunch of guys. Obviously, we're all cutting the rug and talking smack to everybody. But there are times when it gets a little heated, and I've found one way was just to shut up and kind of walk away, get over on your own, take a cool little breather. A lot of times, and maybe it's not the case every time and for everyone, but I think pride a lot of time gets in the way. Ooh. Because somebody may not be a good teacher, but they're trying to teach you something in the moment, and I've certainly reared up at it like, oh, I know what I'm doing, but they're trying to give you maybe you're doing it right, but they're trying to give you a little bit better and easier way of doing something because they have more experience than you do. And a lot of times it's, like we just said, twice the amount of listen time and
There you
half the
go.
talking time.
So if anybody else in the comments, if you want to answer that, I don't know, I can't read it, so if anybody else has said, I see some comments going on. Another thing that I've learned is that you never know what somebody else is going through, so don't be so quick to react. Learn what it means to respond. Try to see things through their eyes. Don't look at them, look through them. I said that years ago, and a guy that was a painter in a local business, he said that's the most profound thing I've ever heard. Don't look at somebody, look from them. When you look from them, when you look through their eyes, sometimes you can understand the frustration. Okay, this is the reason this guy's always ticked off and negative and mean and nasty, because he has such a challenging life. And so flip that script and just try to be the instrument of peace there. Solomon said, don't give a harsh answer. You'll heap coals of fire on their heads if you give them a soft answer. A soft answer turns away wrath. There are a lot of things like that. Great question. Who was that again that asked it?
Some girl, I might ask for her phone number later or something.
Yeah, no, we're not going to get one of those. So.
No, and she also just pointed out Clay Murphy is always super positive. He's always got something encouraging and positive to say to her. Amber just joined us.
All right.
And she's a wonderful servant as well, serving up in the media team, making it happen. And it's cool. I'm glad we get to do something like this.
I just happened to get to pick up one of my oldest friends, Roger Clark, is watching. Hey, Roger, shout out to you, kid. Grew up with me down on the mean streets of Crescent Beach.
Oh my gosh.
right next to me. Lori Finger, your high school volleyball coach. KK Shanks and Barton. She speaks life into everyone she meets. That is cool. Thank you. Anybody else? Somebody who spoke something into your life that made a difference to you? Say that. Once again, thank you for watching, letting us know where you're watching from. One other thing, just pressing into that. I like this, so I'm going to say it again. The tongue is an instrument of revelation. The tongue is never random. The tongue is the servant of the heart. And so when you talk about words, the tongue is... Wasn't that
super fun to hear?
That was pretty good, though.
Nothing like getting wrecked.
The tongue is never random. So what I said was, when you say something and then you immediately go, oh, well, no, I didn't mean to say that. The reality is, yes, on some level you did.
Yeah.
And it came out, and that's what's deeper inside of you. The tongue is the servant of the heart. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. What lives in me will flow through me. That's pretty good.
It kind of goes with the whole well thing.
Mm-hmm.
Doing. One of the things that I put scribbles by it because it was really profound to me. Maybe not profound, but it was a really cool quote that you had said, was that you can elevate or you can violate with your words.
Yes.
And, well, the other thing, what do you want your echo to be?
That was good.
And if you combine those two, I mean, who are you going to elevate the people around you, or are you going to violate them?
Mm-hmm.
As weird as that may sound, but you can either encourage someone or you can crush them down. And
it's sad to say, but we all have that power.
Oh yeah.
And we sometimes use it and we sometimes abuse it. But either way, you've got it. So maybe if this doesn't do anything but just say to somebody else there, once again, just a reminder to monitor those words and be careful. Debbie Kaufman, you're watching right now. Thank you for speaking great words over our life, fighting for your life for the last 9 years. If it had not been for this church, she wouldn't be sitting where she is. So thank you so much for saying that. We love you.
We are glad you are still here, for sure.
Definitely. Always be kind. You never know what someone is going through. Angela Anderson. Janice Dittman, thank you. God bless you guys. Man, we appreciate y'all. It's just fun. It's a little live thing that we can throw out here and say hey to everybody and get to say a little bit more about the Word on Sunday. So,
one of the other things, just to recap on that, where was it? You need to own your well. You need to own your well.
Yeah.
You had said something about if you owned well, obviously back then in the Bible, if you owned a well, you owned the land around it, essentially, because obviously, you couldn't just turn a faucet on and take a shower and get a cup of water. You had to go and work for it. And that kind of hit me as I was writing it down with the sermon that I'm kind of working on for the youth, in that, well, just to give a couple things from that sermon, is that the church shouldn't always be on the defensive. Yes, we should be able to make a defense for our faith and things like that, But, I think Jesus really wants us to be on the offense and reclaiming things from the gates of hell and taking it back. And what better a time for us to be alive now with how crazy society is getting, and with the vision that we have for the church and the things that we're working on in the background of just pushing back and taking things back that the culture has taken or the world has taken from us. And I think it's really cool and important to realize that your tongue is the well of either life or death, and you own the land around you. And so I think it's important for the people watching now, whether that's live or sometime in the future, to understand that your words really do make an impact. And it's not just sit down and shut up. We should be actively proclaiming the gospel. We should be actively, calling out things that are evil in the world. And, everybody shies away from the big hitters with like gender identity and things like that. And it's like a big hot topic. But we as a church should be not nasty and not violating people with the words, but elevating them and being like, no, you're called to something greater than this. And this wickedness that essentially that is over your life needs to be cast out, for lack of a better term.
Powerful. The truth changes everything, and that's why it's always under attack. And when you speak words of truth, you're speaking life to somebody and light into their darkness. And that's why there's so much opposition to it sometimes. But we're here for such a time as this, and you're right. You own the well, you own the surrounding area. That's authority. That's the authority that He has given to us as believers over everything, over principalities, powers, the regions that we are in, the darkness that is in those areas. We have the authority of Christ in us to deal with those things. And so rather than just use your tongue to complain, you can complain and remain, or you can praise and raise. Use your tongue to change the atmosphere of that area. You own that area. And there's also a double entendre to that. You own the well, which I don't think I did it Sunday, but I wanted to say you need to own your tongue.
No, you didn't.
Oh.
I don't think you said it Sunday.
I didn't say that. I meant to, but so I say it now. You need to own the well. Owning the well is a metaphor for owning the tongue. The words that are coming out of your mouth, you need to own them.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of people that want to shy away from that, and I mean, I'm certainly one that's dropped the ball before. You try, I didn't say that or anything like that, but it's a big thing, especially just accountability, and you're speaking on the truth. And there was something I read the other day that was something about the truth has never truly hurt someone, and I think it was something along those lines. I'm probably paraphrasing it horribly, but essentially to me, lies, whether it's white lies or anything like that, they certainly tear down a lot more than the truth does. The truth might sting, but it's not going to tear you down as much as it is somebody finding out that you lied. Obviously, it's much more better to have accountability and to own the well, own your words.
Amen. Welcome again, everybody. We see new people jumping in here. If you're just joining us, let us know where you're watching from. Any comments or questions that you have, it's about Sunday's sermon, Proverbs 10 and 11. The mouth of the righteous is a well of life. I see Lauren Dennison says, kind words can change the direction of a person's day. Amen. I try to be that guy. Debbie Stevens just joined us. Glad to have you along with us. I try to find the right ways to say things. To own the well is synonymous of owning the country that is around it. Wherever there's a well, there's a place of encounter. So your mouth is meant to create encounters for people that they can transition out from where they are to where they want to be. Solomon, I said this Sunday, so I want to dig in on this just real quick. A word fitly spoken. I don't know if you recalled that or not, but a word fitly spoken. The word fitly in that verse means in between. Which we spend so much of our lives in between. We spend it in between places. I'm not where I was, but I'm definitely not yet where I want to be. And so when someone speaks life to you, it helps you, escorts you towards where you want to be.
Well, this whole time on earth is an in-between. As believers, our home is not supposed to be of this world. It's up in heaven. So
I'm swimming in the shallow end. Jared's over here in the deep end of the pool.
My brain is a slightly different creative element than yours.
I'm different. That's true. That's very true. And that's a good thought, yeah. We're always in between. So every word that we speak should be helping someone get from where they are to where they want to be. The mouth of the righteous is a well of life. How about you? Any comments on that? Any thoughts on it? Here's one. How have you done this week?
There you go. That's a good one. It's something.
Look, we're losing viewers right now.
Oh no, I have internet problems. Well, the same thing. A good way to answer. Put it in the comments. What do you want your echo to be? How do you want people to remember you? And that can go.
Wow.
Either way, obviously. I mean, do you want at the end of your days, because you never know when it is. I mean, what do you want your echo to be? How do you want to leave this world? How do you want to leave the people behind you? Do you want to be
That is a deep dive.
celebrated or celebrated that you're gone?
That's a deep dive. Currently, I say this all the time because I've earned it. I've been in ministry now for 43 years. I've done a lot of funerals, more than I ever wanted to. I never dreamed I would, be in those situations. But I've been in funerals where like in this room, where the room was filled. Awana's funeral.
Yeah, I've never seen.
Probably
other
the best
than
funeral I've ever been
Papa's,
to in my life.
I don't remember anyone that was as
Amazing. It was just the building filled and people can't say enough nice things, and it's just an atmosphere. And then I've been in rooms where there's 3 people and the atmosphere is
That's
death.
unfortunate.
And it's like, no one's going to remember this person and the way that they lived their lives. So how do you want to be remembered? And we build that legacy every day with what we do or don't do.
Legacy. It's important to build a legacy.
A legacy is an important word. Somebody write the word legacy in the comments, and do it because we know that there's something coming up about
Kelsey,
that.
just to hit on the legacy thing really quick, I know it's not necessarily with the sermon, but we were talking about it the other day, and the difference between like legacy and legend, and the way that I said it to her was legacy is, to me, something that you leave behind, you helped build, but the next person builds it up a little more, the next person builds it up a little more. Legend is, to me, more about fame. Legacy to me is about leaving something that lasts longer than you. It's understanding that it's greater than you, and legend is more of, like just kind of about yourself. And I don't want to be a legend. I want to leave a legacy.
And you will. Donna Garris, Edgel Smith, Sunday is my new favorite day of the week. I never knew church could be so wonderful. I feel like you are speaking to me every Sunday. From the time I walk in, I have this wonderful feeling come over me and lasts all week. Thank you, Pastor. You are amazing. Leave that last part out, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. I know who you are. You came with Michelle, and she told me your story. She was working on getting you here for a long time, like 18 years. This lady was.
Is that? I remember seeing a comment about that the other day, that their neighbor was inviting them for 18 years or something. So that's cool. That was awesome to read. I was smiling at that.
Yeah.
And Kelsey said she wants people to see the change in herself and her family. And I don't remember when it was, but like I told you a couple weeks
Wasn't
ago.
it February?
I think January, February, where you said that she wouldn't recognize herself in 6 months. I already certainly see the change, and judging by the engagement on her Facebook post, other people definitely see it. But something she harps on a lot, that's really cool to see, is people, maybe they're not engaging as much on her post, but she said she's starting to see a lot more of her friends on Facebook posting about God. And I have as well. There's even people that I had zero idea that even believed in God, or anything like that, or that just wasn't a super spiritual person, just seeing them post things about that. And I was even actually talking to my barber several times the last time I've seen
What's a
him.
barber?
You know what a shick is?
What?
A shick, isn't that the razor? I made sure to enunciate that correctly.
I have no need for a barber.
I've done that once, and I looked horrible, so hopefully mine stays like mom's.
Yeah, you've got a
stays
full
on my
head.
head. But no, we were talking, and I had no idea he was a believer or anything, and I don't obviously try to shove Jesus down people's throats. I try to, like I told in the youth, let the light shine and let that open the door. Not all the time, sometimes obviously you still just need to say it. But we were talking, and he said, just with the way that society is going, it really seems like we're in just, he said he thinks it's like we're in World War III, but it's a spiritual battle. It's not a physical one. And this was just my barber. And I mean, if
Wow.
you've seen him, you've seen him at the gym. Super tattooed guy, just giant, strong as a gorilla. But he was talking about that, and he's like, it really looks like it's a spiritual battle, and it's pretty much just turned into black and white, good and evil, and it's time to pick a side. And he said, I know what side I'm picking on. And that was the first conversation I've had with him, and then we had one last week, or not last week, whenever the time I went to him was. And he even brought it up first. He was like, so I was walking up to the chair, and he's like, so what's your end game? You coming to pastor or what? And I was like, yeah, I guess you just cut my hair. No, but it was cool. It opened a whole different door that wasn't necessarily open before. That probably was always there, but just needed the right time. And another thing with words, it just opens up a well.
The well, what I said, one of the things is that well creates encounter. No, a well is a place of an encounter. Jesus spoke to the woman at the well.
That's immediately what I
that,
thought when you brought it up on
huh?
Sunday. I immediately thought of Jesus and the woman at the well when you brought up that, the encounters and all the different encounters that have happened at wells.
And because of her, the whole city was touched and changed. So you never know when that one thing you're going to say to somebody is going to create a ripple in their life that's going to go right on through their whole family. You never know.
And that's what one of the comments a minute ago said. You never know what somebody's going through, and that's certainly definitely the case. You have no idea, even if it's not a word, if it's just a smile on your face on a Sunday morning. There's a lot of people, you talked about it, church burnt, church hurt, that it could just be as simple as a good morning and a smile.
Amen.
And that could change somebody's whole outlook on the church, and it can be the thing that makes them come back and want to know more.
There's a lot going on out there. We're almost out of time. We're running 30 minutes up to it. Great things, great words, great conversation, great points made. Hopefully spoke something into your life. Thank you guys for giving us your comments. Tell us what's going on in the church. What's coming up?
Well, one more thing before, what's coming up, so I can segue somewhat, is storm season is coming up. And you said before on Sunday that you wanted to have a church of storm speakers.
Yes.
So that when the waves are going, the storm's coming, and you can just say, peace, be still. And that's actually another little thing I have working on back there.
He's writing a sermon, y'all.
He's
going to preach here one of these days.
We'll see.
All right.
It'll come.
Pastor J.D. Norris's class on Monday night was packed, 27, I think, participants. That was huge. Shout out to J.D. and everybody who came. They'll be doing it every Monday for the next 5 more weeks. The basics, the fundamentals of their faith. So everyone is invited to that. We give you all the material that you want. It's all there. Now, at the end of that also, when we finish that, maybe a week or two following that, we're going to have our last baptism of the summer. People have been asking, when can I be baptized? So that's coming up. We'll baptize you just a couple of weeks after that.
No, we're doing that still at the beach?
Yes,
just so
we
people
still
know.
do those at the beach, and looking forward to it. So if you need to be baptized, stay tuned. Don't miss services. We're trying, here's another thing quickly. We're trying to get people to we're creating a culture in the church. Our church is filling up right now.
Yeah,
thank
quickly.
God. Thank God.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have. We're filling up, so people are looking for seats. So we're trying to create that culture where get here early, come in, find a seat, come to the front, fill the seats in, and then leave the back seats open so that people, when they come in a little bit later, they can find a spot. We're going to be working on that, and so if you've come here and you had a hard time finding a seat, we're working on it. We're going to get it fixed.
Especially time, coming in and
in early,
being on time, getting here early.
Come to the team meeting, even if you're not on one of the teams. 9:20 every Sunday, team meeting. It's a quick word of encouragement, 10 minutes of, hey, here's what we're doing.
Maybe they'll see what's going on. They'll want to get involved.
Yeah, you might want to connect.
We can always use more hands on the plow, more hands serving and helping going. There's a lot.
That plow's getting bigger.
Yeah, it's a huge pile, but it's a big well to dig.
Y'all be praying. Legacy, we're working on legacy things. You're working on new everything, new websites, new applications, new platforms, new outreaches. Our stuff on YouVersion is blowing up.
That's really cool to see.
We are the largest church now in this region with the numbers of people that have joined our church page on YouVersion. Jump in there and do that. If you haven't, we're on Spotify now. We're on Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah, Facebook, obviously. Facebook, YouTube. Trying to get a little more on YouTube. I just like YouTube more than Facebook. But yeah, Spotify, I think it's on Google. Apple's still being weird. That's why our app is still a little funky, but it should be up soon. And I'm excited for that, especially with the groups and building more of a community knit and just building a big extended family.
Yep.
The
The
stuff
family.
like that.
Sunday is backpack.
Backpacks,
Right?
yes. And shout out to everybody that came yesterday. Megan
Oh, man, yeah.
filled them up in like 10 minutes.
10 minutes. They had 100 backpacks that we were loading with all kind of school supplies. And I'm thinking, because I've done this before, this is going to be a couple hours.
Yeah.
And 10 minutes, she sent me a text and we're done. I'm like, praise the Lord. So thank you for everybody who did that. But this Sunday, show up. Come to the 10 a.m. service. Kids are going to be in their places, but we're going to finish the service with something special for them. And I've got an announcement that I'm going to make this Sunday at the end of the 10 a.m. service. So do not miss it if you can.
Don't
Be there.
miss it. Come early.
Come early and have a seat. Invite somebody to come with you. Melissa Mara is there. Angela Anderson's watching. Donna Kaser, Judy Anderson, Gatos. Kind words are like feathers in the wind. They cannot be brought back once they get released. I see the people shouting the word legacy out there. I want people to see the change in myself and my life. That's your girl. There's a lot of change going
She's
on
good.
in you, and he's not done yet. He's not done with you yet.
Dylan-
There's so
Oh,
much more. Go ahead.
Key of G, please. That's all we sing now is G and A or whatever. But
God's
no,
key.
the last thing I think I want to bring up is just that you said your mouth is a well of life. You just have to learn to speak it. And I think that is something very important for the people, myself included, all of us really, to understand. And I believe one of the most essential ways to do that is getting in the Bible every day. And one of the benefits of the church page on YouVersion is you can kind of see how many people are opening their Bibles every day.
He's not done with you
No,
yet.
it's great. We've got the Foundations devotional on there right now. I thought that was a really cool one to go through. I just started one. I sent you an invite, and Dylan and Boogie, just one that seemed kind of cool,
Okay.
of living a defiant life. And it's actually, I've never done it. You can read a Bible plan with friends, and then once you complete the day, you can make comments on it. And I thought that was a really cool thing, so you can all kind of share your thoughts. But no, I think that's good. We'll see everybody on Sunday.
I see them say Monday night was great. God bless you guys. Thank you for being here for this every Wednesday night,
Every Wednesday night, 6 p.m.
6 p.m. We'll be right here. A lot of great things going on. We look forward to talking to you more. God bless you.
God bless you. We'll see you Sunday.
See you Sunday. See you next time.